Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is the show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it just like a book club. On today's show, we're covering the animated holiday film, Klaus. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 2019, Klaus was directed by Sergio Pablos and Carlos Martinez Lopez and stars Jason Schwartzman, J.K. Simmons, and Rashida Jones. A simple act of kindness always sparks another, even in a frozen, faraway place. When Smeeringsburg's new postman, Jesper, befriends toymaker Klaus, their gifts meld an age-old feud and deliver a sleigh full of holiday traditions. It is currently ranked 176 on IMDb's Top 250, and has a 4.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd. The film was nominated for 1 Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a quick spoiler warning. We are going to talk about this film, everything that happens in it, plot twists, spoilers, all that wonderful kind of thing. So if you haven't seen the film yet, we would make sure that you go and watch it first. You can pause it. It's fine. You won't offend us. And then come back and talk about it. That way you're not spoiled. The movie is streaming on Netflix since it is a Netflix-produced film. Stay tuned to the end of the show, though, to find out what we're watching out next week. And you might want to stay tuned because it's proving to probably be an interesting one. Alrighty, Kevin. So we are here with probably the first holiday film that we're covering on the show so far. We will have an actual holiday movie that is coming out a little bit closer to Christmas time. But this was your pick this week. Yeah. So what made you pick Klaus?
I just like the different aspect of this holiday movie. It's not your typical run-of-the-mill family get-together movie like Christmas with the Cranks or like a other family movie like The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And I loved the artistry in this.
Gotcha, yeah. And I think this is a movie that I'd always heard of and I had seen on Netflix, and I had just never given it its shot. To be honest, I don't really like holiday films. Most of them are just cashing in on the season and just trying to evoke nostalgic feelings. Like, you know, like growing up in California, like we both have, we don't get snowy Christmases. So I don't feel any nostalgia for Christmases like that, white Christmases, whatever. Like I don't get those. Like I don't feel any kind of nostalgia for them. So it's definitely interesting to see a holiday film that comes along, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler on my opinion, but it's actually a good holiday movie. Like I actually enjoyed this movie, which is saying a lot for holiday films. My favorite Christmas film, that specific holiday, my favorite Christmas film is Die Hard, and that should say something. Like I don't think there is another good Christmas movie, at least not that I've seen, and this I would probably say is a close second. Pending the viewing of a later episode for our Christmas one, which is a movie that I have never seen and I've always wanted to see. So we'll have to wait for that. But kind of just jumping right in, though, I want to jump on what you had talked about already, which is the animation of this movie. It is gorgeous.
Yes.
It is a 3D animated movie, but it looks like it's 2D.
Yeah, I was nervous about it because when I first saw it, I saw this about a year ago and just rewatched it a couple of days ago. But when I first saw it, I'm like, I don't think I'll like the animation style in this. But surprisingly, I prefer this animation style to like all 3D animation styles and stuff like that. Just the pencil drawings that you can see sometimes and the illustration that they use is really, really nice.
Yeah, it's a very unique style. It hasn't really been used before. I think the only project that comes close to this in terms of kind of similar look is the TV show Arcane on Netflix, where it's like 2D but 3D. Like it's a very interesting and unique art style, and I think it fits this film well. Like it fits the storybook nature of the film. I just wish there was a little bit more color in the film, and I think that for like. Obviously, that plays into its story, right? The majority of this film is like grays and whites and blacks, and just it's kind of cold and indifferent. Obviously, because that's the town in which Jesper goes to.
Mm-hmm. But
So it
yeah,
just plays into it.
I do agree with the no color for like pretty much half of the movie. Or they if they would have spruced it up in the end, like when he gets like his quote unquote magic, Klaus does, to make it more colorful. But yeah, no, it's supposed to be a not dark movie, a um low palette tone movie for like a majority of this movie because of the town and because of the situation and everything.
For sure. And while we're on that topic of like the kind of the tone, right, of this movie, um, there is a big part of this movie that I wouldn't say I'm a fan of, and but like it's still better than most other Christmas movies. And I think that I don't like the idea of the two clans or whatever being at war with each other essentially.
Hmm.
Like it just feels like a shoehorned in way to have conflict in
Hmm.
this movie, and for that conflict to be um, like gotten over. Like you could just have a town full of people who are just cold to each other. Like they just don't like each other. And I think that doing it where it's like the tale of two cities kind of style,
Hmm.
and that just creates further conflict, and that just leads into what I think is probably my least favorite part of this movie, aside from some odd pop music choices that happen in this film, which is always a cardinal sin.
You love those pop musics, just spurt it in there.
If it fits, it's fine. But like that music would not exist in this time frame. Like there's no reason for it. Anyhow, but like my biggest thing I don't like about this movie is the liar revealed story.
Hmm.
It's just like, oh, we found out that this guy came here, but he was sent here and he doesn't want to be here and he's only doing all this so he can go home. But we as the audience know that no, his heart has changed. He doesn't want to go back home. Like it's such a retread storyline, and I hate that reveal. I hate that so much because it's like logical thinking characters would not have done any of that.
Yeah.
Like the minute, like if you were in that situation, or if I were in that situation that Jesper's in,
Hmm.
and everything starts going well, and you're becoming friends with people, why would you hide the reason you came there, especially from someone who you're becoming romantically entangled with?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, my dad sent me here because he's the head of the post office, and originally I was just supposed to get 6,000 letters, but this thing took off, and I really like it, and I want to stay here. Like I would
Yeah.
have said that immediately. Like it's
When things started going off, pretty much is like
yeah,
tell them the truth and tell Klaus the truth as well. They would have taken it a lot better than them finding out themselves.
it's lazy story writing in my opinion. Like,
Well, yeah,
and
and
already I'm going to pose to you a completely different narrative, and I think it would have made the movie just a little bit better. And I'm not saying this movie's bad. This movie is good. Don't get me wrong. But like, if instead of the town being at war with each other, if there was a guild of toy makers who were not making money because their kids all these kids kept getting in trouble and they weren't good, so parents weren't buying them toys, and the toy guild makers are going out of business because they can't make money off selling toys anymore, and then all of a sudden these kids start acting nice and getting toys for free, then these guild makers would be like, we got to go stop that because we need to make money. That would
Mhm.
have been a little bit more interesting than just, oh yeah, we've always been at war with each other. It's like a thinly veiled, like not racism thing, but like, baked in culture, like, oh,
Mhm.
we have to hate those people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so lazy in my opinion. And I think that it doesn't drag down this good movie, but it makes it lose points in my opinion. Like
Mhm.
does that bother you at all, or do you think that it works for this movie? Like I'm
W
curious to see what you think.
So, I don't it could it be done in a different way? Yes. But you got to look at it as like a kid. This is a Christmas
A
movie a
family
little
movie
bit.
for sure.
A family movie. So kids have to understand what the conflict is. What's easier? Toy maker toy makers trying to figure out like what's going on, or just two families fighting.
I mean,
to
arguably, I
get.
think both are easy to understand, but
Yeah,
I
but
see what you're trying to say. Yeah.
so it works for me, but yes, as an adult, if it was more meticulous and more methodical, I would say yeah, that like your story would have been better for me as an adult though. But as a kid, I can see myself just like, okay, I understand that.
Yeah, and I also want to make something pretty clear too, because comments might point this out saying, "Oh, that's also a lazy story." Or anything. I'm not a professional screenwriter. That idea literally just came to me like in the seconds before I talked about it. Like, I'm not saying that's necessarily the best route to go. Maybe this was the best route in the screenwriter's minds. I'm just providing an alternate kind of viewing point.
Yeah, and
Um,
sometimes alternate viewing points bring up good points of the movie that you necessarily didn't think about. Because
mhm.
when you brought it up right now, I didn't think about that. I was just like, oh, okay, it's two families going to war. I know what's going to eventually happen. But you're like, oh, what if this happens? I was like, wait, that sounds pretty good, actually. So,
Yeah, not that I mean, like having that kind of like, oh, this would have been better, doesn't lower what I think of this movie. I think this movie is still a good holiday movie. I think it's probably second best one in my opinion. But it's just one of those things like, hey, it could have been, like could have been something a little bit more layered, and especially because this is a Netflix movie. If this was a Disney movie or a DreamWorks one, I'd understand kind of going more the family route. Like, oh, it's got the two families at war. Because this is Netflix, you can afford to go a little bit further, stretch that PG rating a little bit, maybe, or whatever. Like, we just saw that recently with Netflix's movie Nimona, which is fantastic. And that movie does have some more adult themes in it, right?
mhm.
So I think they could have done something, but this is also one of Netflix's first animated films. So it kind of makes sense that they were playing it safe and kind of going the easier to understand route. So
Mhm.
I totally get that. One of the good things I do want to talk about this movie, though, is the voice cast. So,
Mhm.
like, Jason Schwartzman, who plays the main character Jesper, initially I thought he was kind of annoying, which is
Mhm.
just how I always think Jason Schwartzman's characters are. Like, I'm sure Jason Schwartzman's a great guy, but he always plays like total dweebs or like annoying people,
Yeah.
and it's so funny to me. But I think like by the end of the movie, he does bring a heart. Like obviously with the character change, he brings that change forward. Like you're not seeing the realization in his face. You're seeing it in the animations, or the
Mhm.
animated version of the character's face, right? But you can feel it through his voice that he's changed and that he's kind of, taken on this higher responsibility.
Mhm.
But also, J.K. Simmons is Santa Claus. I mean, come on, it's you got J. Jonah Jameson get out here bringing gifts to kids, and it's
Yeah.
honestly one of those things like the voice just kind of is there. Like I don't hear J.K. Simmons, but I know it's him. It's like this calming presence that's just
Mhm.
there, and I think that his portrayal of the character Klaus is great. Like I think it's very warm.
Yeah.
Um,
His voice has always been warm though too. Like it's
mhm.
easily recognizable from Spider-Man and stuff like that. But yeah, like you said in this movie, you can't really it's him, but you realize that Santa Claus always has had like a deep voice and stuff like that. So he kind of fits it a lot more than if you were to get another actor in there.
Sure, yeah, and I also think that Rashida Jones is. I didn't even know it was Rashida Jones, to be honest. I couldn't quite tell who was playing Alpha, but
Mhm.
I think her character was also just a lot of fun to have around as well. I feel like I saw her character change coming miles away, though. I mean, obviously, it's a formulaic kind of family
Yeah.
holiday film, but like it was, she played into it well, and I think that the warmth behind her voice, like she's got the cold cutting quality that she needs in the beginning, but then it just
Mhm.
kind of changes, and it's just another fascinating evolution to see. So
Yeah.
all around, I think the voice cast does a great job, and that kind of also leads into the character design as well, which initially I wasn't too big a fan of, and then the more the movie went on, the more I started to like it.
Yeah. Yeah, all the actors and actresses and voice actors, they commend what the illustrators did to their characters pretty much. I can see Klaus, like you said, being a little dweeb or something like that.
I mean
But
Jesper.
oh, who does? Yeah, I forget
Said
that
Klaus.
Jesper's the main character and Klaus is not.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jesper is a little dweeb, and he acts like it too. But and that voice comes along with it until he has that change of heart and he stops being a little bit high pitched tone. I noticed when rewatching it is he became more um, lower tone, and even Klaus when he's talking about his past and his wife and everything like that, gets, even though Santa Claus is a low tone, he goes even lower than that just to show his feelings.
Yeah, it's great all around. I think that between both the performers and the animators, they achieve, I think, what the film is really going for, and that's just, it's great to see. All right, and I mean, to be honest, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this movie. I think it's, well, I'll just go ahead and lean into final thoughts and scores, because this is actually, if we forgot to mention, this is the first movie I believe on the entire list. Let me double check that. No, this is not the first movie that I haven't seen, because that was Once Upon a Time in the West. But this is a movie I hadn't seen before, and I've been meaning to watch for quite a while. And I think that it is good. I don't think it's necessarily an incredible film. I definitely don't think that it deserves to be in the top 250 on IMDb. I think that's very odd placement, but I think it is also interesting because I was reading another Letterboxd review from someone that I follow, another YouTube channel called Daniel's Productions, and he mentioned that it's really one of the best Christmas movies that functions well as a movie. Like, it's not just nostalgia bait. It's not just oh look, it's the marketing around. Like, this is just an actually good movie. And so
it's not like a cookie cutter movie. It's
exactly.
Like this goes here, and final.
I mean, it's a little formulaic, but it's not like cookie cutter, like you said. It's not factory pressed out. There's love and talent that went into this movie, which does make me respect it. But overall, I think the movie is good, not exceptional. I do give it an 81 out of 100 if I have to score it, and a 4 stars out of 5 on my Letterboxd account. I think this is a new holiday staple, and for anyone looking for a holiday movie that is also just good as a film, this is going to be the one that I recommend kind of going forward, besides Die Hard, because Die Hard is the best Christmas movie, and it is a Christmas movie. And if you don't think it is, you're just wrong. So, but what do you think about the movie?
First time I watched it, I really liked the way, the direction it was going. It was a different type of Christmas movie, which I always like those. Again, not like the cookie cutter Hallmark movies that are all over the place. This is different, and I love watching it. And I'm going to watch it every single year. I gave it 4 stars out of 5, and I gave it a 90 on Letterboxd.
All righty. So we both give it a 4 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. So the question now falls to you. What did you think of Klaus? Go ahead and down in the comments and let us know what you think. But remember to be respectful of one another, because we will be watching. Next week, we'll be covering the musical biography piece, which is Amadeus. We're very excited for this one. So make sure you watch the film before the episode comes out next week so you're not spoiled. Thank you so much for watching again. Remember that we have a live stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where you can join us and me and my other co-host, Adrian, on the stream, where we talk about movie news, reviews, and so much more. And also check out all of our various different videos on the channel as well. Our old podcast, as well as some of our top 10 lists, and the 150 films video, which just crossed 8,000 views at the time of recording. So thank you so much for supporting that. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us here on YouTube, but also you can follow us everywhere on every social media platform at Reel Watchers, that is REEL Watchers. And that's about it. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep your eyes on the screen.